Welcome back to Peak. We are so excited that you're here. We've got a lot of moving parts as always. I'm super excited to get you introduced to our next guest, who I really think you're going to enjoy. But before we do that, Caitlin and I want to fill you in on all of the things that we are doing at Peak. And I think one of the things we want to talk about is the Reset Challenge. Caitlin, why don't you fill us in?
Yeah, hello everyone. There are so many exciting things developing with Peak, especially our Peak app, which Samson and I have been working extremely hard to create workouts, meditations, classes, and more resources to provide female athletes with science-backed information to have them feeling healthier and higher performing all of the time. As Samson said, we will soon be launching a special week-long recovery program, which will be available for free to try on our Peak app. So please, when that is launched, utilize it, try the meditation, try the yoga, and be able to give yourself a week-long reset. Thanks for tuning in today and supporting our Peak community.
Yeah, I'm so excited about it also. And we have so many collaborators with this program this time. We've got a new strength and conditioning coach that's coming in. We have a meditation coach that's coming in. We have a sports performance coach that's coming in. And I've actually worked with this organization before. They've worked with my athletes, and I've also had them work with individual clients. So we are bringing so much value, and the entire week is going to be free to any athlete or coach that downloads the app. So we're super excited about that. We will make sure we keep you in the know. But in the meantime, we are super excited to introduce you to our next guest, who is a current high performing high school athlete. I also had the privilege of knowing this athlete, and I did get the opportunity for just a little moment to be able to coach her. I actually went back before getting on the podcast. I went back to try to look through some pictures from 4 years ago when I was first introduced to her on the girls cross country team. And I will tell you, the thing that I remembered from the very first day I met her is her light and her energy and her brightness literally illuminated any practice that she was in. And people were immediately drawn to her. And 4 years later, you can absolutely still feel that energy in everything that she does. She's no longer running cross country. She is part of the girls flag football team, which is something she will talk to you about. But I'm really excited for you to get to know a little bit about her and her journey in sport. Mary, are you ready to get warmed up?
Oh, I'm ready.
I love it. All right. Road trip or plane?
Road trip or plane? I think I'm gonna have to go with plane.
Like that. You want to get there quick?
Yeah, I like to take good a nap on a plane, get my music going, look out the window and see like the clouds and stuff.
I love that. All right. Pancakes or waffles?
Ooh, waffles. The hotel waffles in the little waffle maker. Those things are my favorite.
You're kidding me. You mean the ones where you pour the batter in and it
Yes.
makes the pancake or the
Yeah,
waffle?
where you pour the batter in the morning.
I love that. Your free breakfast in the
yeah.
hotel after getting off the airplane. Exactly. All right. Lipstick or lip balm?
Ooh, I'm gonna go with lip balm. My lips get pretty chapped in the winter, so I have that with me at all times.
You have a go-to brand?
Well, probably just Aquaphor, just plain and simple.
I like it. Yeah, keep it plain and simple. All right. Summer or winter Olympics?
Ooh, I'm gonna go with, this is a tough one. I think Winter Olympics.
All right.
I like to see the snowboarders up there. They're always cool.
I know, right? I see you snowboarding.
Oh yeah, I love snowboarding.
Yeah, I figured that you do skateboard too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, see, that's why I'm so excited to dive into the conversation. But before we do that, I do have a follow-up question to this. Do you ever see flag football being a part of the Olympics?
Oh, absolutely. I think
Ooh.
just within the past, like from when it's been introduced, at least at Libertyville, like it's just grown a ridiculous amount. And it's like, I just see it keep getting bigger and bigger as the years go. So I definitely think so.
I think so too. You know, cross country is, I think, going to be part of people don't realize that, but cross country is a separate sport than track. And there's talk of cross country being in the Olympics. So maybe flag football and cross country can be inputted in the same Olympics. How cool would that be?
That would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be awesome. All right. We are super excited to get to know a little bit about you. So fill us in and let us know a little bit about your journey of being a girl in sport.
All right, let me think where to begin. So
my first the first sport I ever played when I was about 2, my dad brought me to Coen Brothers Judo, which is judo's like martial arts and stuff like that. And so I kind of grew up just surrounded in martial arts and judo. And that's like what brought me some of my best friends who I'm still close with today. And it was really just like my whole childhood. Like, of course, I did some other sports, just like soccer, like little kickers, like some random things. But I was always really passionate about it. And that's what kind of got me involved with martial arts, which eventually led to like wrestling. But I did that really competitively and like internationally and nationally until I was about, sorry, I'm trying to think. Well, I still kind of do it, but it kind of went from judo. And then once I got into middle school, I joined the wrestling team. I was the only girl on the middle school wrestling team with about 60 guys there.
Oh my gosh.
Which was its own journey for sure, but it was really fun and I loved it. Then in 8th grade, my friend said her lacrosse team needed a goalie. And I was just kind of like, well, I've played goalie a couple times here and there, so let me go out. And that was the first team that I was really on that was like a dominantly like women's sport and surrounded by people like that. And that was like a game changer because I've never really had like a community of like all women on a team. And it was fantastic. So then I fell in love with lacrosse too. And then when I got to high school, freshman year, that's when I met Coach Sampson. I wanted to do, because I've always had like, I just love doing sports and like trying new stuff. And so my friend wanted me to do cross country with her. So I went to cross country, met Coach Sampson, and it was great. Then my freshman year, I actually didn't wrestle because I kind of got a little just like burnt out from it. And I took a year off and I did gymnastics just kind of for fun. And that was another great sport with a good community of girls to be around. And then lacrosse in the spring. And then last year, flag football was introduced. And that's when I joined flag football. And then I rejoined wrestling, which was a great decision. And then I still played lacrosse. So that was kind of like that's like the timeline of sports for me.
Oh my gosh, Mary, you have really done so much. I think your journey through sports and trying out so many different things is so awesome and inspiring. I want to talk to you specifically about wrestling and how you said you were the only girl in middle school on a team of 60 guys. Can you just share a little bit about what that experience was like for you?
Yeah, totally. Let me think. It was different for sure. Cause judo martial arts, there's been predominantly like guys on the team, but I've always had a couple girls here and there. So that was the first time it was really just me, but I loved wrestling. Like I was really into it. And it was one of those things where I was there and I didn't really like care who was around me. Cause I was just so focused on like improving like myself and like my kind of sport. And it was kind of one of those things I had to like embrace. Like there was no point in being like, oh, like I'm the only girl, like I have to like, like hide and like not talk and like, I don't know, just kind of stuff like that. Cause that was obviously a thought, like maybe I should just like kind of stick to myself, put my head down. But that's just not the type of person I am. So I think I just kind of sticked with what I do and I just like talk to people and train to be my best athlete that I could be with that. And so I ended up being friends with a couple of guys on the team. Like they all treated me very nicely. And so I never had a horrible experience with that. But it was definitely like kind of an adjustment that I had to wrap my head around at first.
Yeah, absolutely. I think your attitude of just not letting yourself be the only girl kind of bring you down or allow yourself to put your head down because Mary, I mean, I've had the privilege of getting to know you through cross country and your energy, as Samson said, is just so infectious. So, I mean, I have no doubt that you were such a light part of that team.
Yeah, I guess I just kind of took it as more of like, I don't know, like everyone loves an underdog, So when you're kind of the only one there, it's like you're always the underdog. Like, if you do good, it's like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. But if you do bad, it's kind of like, oh, well, she's the only girl on the team. So it's not really, it's not super high expectations. But I guess I just kind of leaned into like remembering like who I am. And instead of like changing to kind of fit the team, I just kind of did what I wanted to do and worked out really well. So
that's awesome. Yeah.
So wait, I want to ask you about this. I love that you talked about staying true to yourself. And so one of the things that we see, because I work in this space full time, is one of the things that happens with a girl in sport or a female, it even happens with female coaches, is they actually get smaller. So when either things feel uncomfortable or there's controversy or, being the only girl on the team or somebody challenging you, the defer to is to actually get smaller, to like kind of shrink away. And you said that you made the decisive decision to not do that. I'm going to show up as myself. And I think that is huge, right?
For sure.
Yeah. And I think the other thing too is that you showed up as yourself and you focused on you and doing your best. But what I don't think people can hear from that is you are the most like team-oriented player I have ever seen. I had the privilege of being able to watch you do your other sports. I've seen you on the lacrosse field, and the goalie can be very isolating, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've seen you on the flag football team, and I've seen you on the wrestling mat. So I know that you are there to perform optimally at your best. But my sense is you're there to perform at your best so you can bring light and energy and success to other people. Am I overstating that, or is that what you're thinking?
Absolutely agree. Like my like fuel and motivation really comes from like the people around. Like, like if I can get other people excited to be there, it really makes me more excited to be there. And I think a big transition for me too, like how I said, I went from like wrestling to lacrosse. It's like going from a men's sport mostly to a women's sport, but it's also for me a big thing is like going from an individual sport to a team sport.
Yeah.
That was
exactly
really,
right.
yeah, that was a huge thing for me because I'd never really been a part of like a team. Like we're in this together, we work together, we do this together. And not only did I fall in love with just like having teammates who were also women and I could like relate and stuff like that, but I really like, just loved that like team aspect. So I'm just such a social person that it really just like brings my like energy up and my performance up and just my motivate, like all of it just comes from the people around me. So that's definitely a big thing too.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's exactly right. When you played lacrosse, so when you were in wrestling in both middle school and high school, it's a male coach, correct?
For wrestling, yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So when you played, and I know the flag football coach is a woman, was your lacrosse coach a male or a female?
So in middle school, it was a male, but then in high school, we have a head coach who's female and then like an assistant coach who's a male.
Was there a difference to you in coaching styles? Was it something that was beneficial to you to have a female coach, or did that not matter? I'm just curious about that.
Yeah, I think it was an adjustment because I've always had male coaches my whole life, like with judo, wrestling, all of that. And I think kind of the way that female coaches go about it, it was like something I never really experienced before. And it brought to life kind of like, I can't like the way that things like are said and the way that advice was given to me was a lot more like I just understood it a lot better. Sometimes like a guy coach like say something and what they're saying, like I've kind of adjusted to it where I like will pick it up. But it's like that translation barrier was gone when I had a female coach. Like it went from these conversations trying to figure out what we were trying to say to each other to just like fluent communication, which was really cool because I never even thought about how that would impact like me as an athlete. I never really thought about the slight little disconnect that I had if it was a male coach.
Yeah, and that's something we talk a lot about at Peak is that while there are certainly phenomenal male coaches out there, I mean, your high school wrestling coach is one of the most iconic coaches in the state of Illinois. I mean, yeah, the best. I mean, so yes, I mean, there are certainly incredible male coaches out there, and there needs to be more female head coaches in high school athletics. Like two things can be true. Yeah, I think so. I think that's exactly right. Can we go back just a little bit? I want to talk about your start. I don't know a ton about martial arts. So it was judo that you did? Judo, correct?
Yeah.
So do you think that studying martial arts also created an opportunity for you to maybe have more discipline than some other kids? To me, it seems like a very disciplined sport.
Oh, 100%. Like it is just you said it perfectly. The discipline and motivation that I get and the hard work and my competitiveness, I believe all of that comes from doing martial arts at such a young age because it was just like put in my head so much. Like I would be at practice, 3 to 4 days a week. every Saturday or Sunday, 8 a.m. Like I was there and I was there to like train. Like it wasn't like a sport in my mind. It was like my job. And I was like at such a young age just put into that discipline, and which I loved. But then once I got to other sports, I realized like not everyone really had that kind of just like foundational, like that's just what I was like, my mindset was kind of put into that already, which I'm so grateful for. And I think that's what kind of I carry into all my sports with me.
So we're here to, I mean, we want to hear your story, but we're also here to add value to the audience. I agree with you. And I think that one of the things we do, I think, super well now is we can coach X's and O's. So we can coach the strength training and the conditioning, and we can, the X's and the O's. We can do all that really well. I think what we don't do well is we don't talk about the mental performance piece, which goes back to the foundational tools that you learned in martial arts from a very young age. How can we be doing that better, A? And then B, for athletes that don't have that, what are some things they can be doing on their own that can help them get that foundational piece that you got so early?
Yeah, I think one of the things that totally just like in everyday life is, I don't know, my coach told me one time, like obsession beats talent every time. So it wasn't really like a on the mat, like I'm going to warm up hard and do this hard and do this. It was like I wake up in the morning and it's something small as like, I'm going to make my bed. Or it's like, and especially because with martial arts, it's like there's weight classes. So it was kind of disciplined with like, oh, well, let's go eat. Like, let's go get like McDonald's or something. And I really was just like, well, no, I want to be successful in judo. I want to make weight. So I'm not going to do that. And it's kind of learning that some things take sacrifice. Like if you really want to succeed in something, like you can't simultaneously have all the fun you want, all like the kind of with that. But I think the discipline, I think it's just something that you can't turn on and off. Like if you want to be a disciplined person on the field, like you have to be a disciplined person in the classroom and with your family, with your friends. Like it just, I think sports have just shaped like my personality so much that on the field and off the field, like I feel like is one person. You know what I'm trying to say? Like it's not like I flip a switch and I change. It's like I've built my personality around how I act when I'm performing, so it doesn't like change.
Okay, so I need to pause here for a minute and because I was like, you know what? I want to have this kid on because she's awesome and she's going to have so much to say. I am completely blown away right now, to be honest with you. I'm like taking notes. I'm like mind blow. I'm like, oh my gosh, I totally wish we were sitting around my table having coffee because I have so many other questions to ask. But no, I totally get it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and one of the things we do as a team, and it's something I have my clients do before we get started, is to fill out a values assessment so they can understand what their values are, so they can connect to their why and then create the habits. That's what you're talking about, habits that support their values, which eventually get them to their why. And people will say to me, well, are you talking about my values at home or my values in sport? I'm like, dude, they're the same thing. It's your values and your values. Yeah. So that is exactly what you're saying, different words, but your values are your values. And
there's also kind of shifts. Oh, sorry.
No,
I was just going to say really quick, like, because I talk so much about that, but it's also, I feel like values can like change too. Like as I got into high school, like when I was like at such a young age, I was so like best in the world. Like I'm just going to be, it was all about that. But like as you get older, it's okay for your values to change. Like a big thing when we talk about flag football, like socially, like maybe your goal from sports is to build like a community around you and make friends with people. And that can also be a value. Like it doesn't mean like,
correct.
You know, so I feel like I started to value that too. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to make an effort to be with these people and hang out with them, be there for them, to build a team up. So I feel like, yeah, values are just a big part of everything.
Yeah. And that's the way I start every values thing, is that these are not set in stone. They change. They're supposed to change. I mean, I do a values assessment with myself twice a year. So every 6 months, like, am I still connected to this value? Am I still cultivating habits that are going to get me to my why, which are going to connect back to my values? And if not, you're exactly right. It's time to pivot. So it's not that the values have to be set in stone. It's that the habits need to be supporting your values to get you to your why. Otherwise, it does create, I think, mental confusion where we need mental clarity. I mean, there's so much clutter out there anyways. And there's something about sacrifice, and I wish I could remember who said it. I actually think it was a distance runner that talked about the idea. They actually think that the word sacrifice is misused because if you're doing something you really love, it's actually not sacrifice. That he said it more eloquently and better. I'm going to look up the quote, but do you kind of get that?
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think for me, it's like, it goes from, I almost like the destination is not like, it's more of like the journey there instead of like where the end goal is. It's kind of shifted from that to where it was like, all I want to do is like win this and I want to do this and do this. And now it's kind of like, I genuinely like the reward is like every day when I'm at practice with people who I genuinely just love, playing a sport that I adore. Like that really is where like I just have learned to accept the whole process, and it just makes it like it doesn't matter what happens in the end. It's kind of like I just enjoy like doing this. Like I would do it regardless of what happens in the end.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We talk a lot about that, right? It's those little things that add up every day. But when people are focused on a goal, whether that's winning the state title or qualifying for the state meet or whatever, and all you're doing is checking the boxes to get to that one thing, you've lost the entire point.
100% agree. And I think I kind of had to shift my mindset with that to where I was like in middle school, I went to state in 7th and 8th grade. And then freshman year, or not, sophomore year, I went to state and I didn't place, I placed 6th instead of like, I wanted to win the whole thing. And so now, of course, my goal is still, I want to go and I want to win state. But it's like, I'm only going to get there if I learn to like enjoy the things it takes to get there. Because if I'm dreading practice and like hating the workouts and the lifts, then it's like I'm never realistically like I'm not going to be able to hold on that long.
That's exactly right, because the physical training is only a very small part. That space between your ears is what is the difference maker. Talk to us a little bit about flag football. I mean, what has that been like? So it has been an IHSA sport now for 2 years. I'm not confident what it's been in other states, but I think it's similar. I think it's been the last 1, 2, 3 years. What has that been like to be part of something that is catching fire and to be so successful at it?
Yeah, this like one of my favorite topics recently, especially with the season ending. It's just last year and like the 2 years I've spent on this team, I've never even been on a sport with a team like bonded so closely and just such passionate, great people. Like I show up every day and I'm just surrounded by people who just lift me up. And so I try to do the same to them. Like it's just such an upbuilding team at LHS that we have. And I think being a part of a sport that's so new is just such an exciting thing. Like last year was the first year we ever had it. And every game it was just like our big thing was like we're making history, because when they look back in like 20 years when hopefully it's like a big thing and in the Olympics and whatnot, they're like, well, you guys were the very first team. It's really cool to think about, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Caitlin, you want to jump in here? Because otherwise I'm going to keep going.
Yeah, Mary, you just have such a refreshing outlook on sports and just life in general. And what you were saying specifically about just appreciating, and you have to enjoy the parts of the sport in order to be successful. And you can't like go throughout your day kind of groaning and rolling your eyes. Do you have any specific tips for athletes, high school age, about how to stay motivated when your sport can seem just tiring and just difficult?
Oh, for sure. And that's a big thing with me is because I mentioned earlier, like 8th, 7th, 8th grade, I wrestled, did all this stuff. And then my freshman year, I didn't even wrestle because I was just so burnt out with practice and just everything. And it's because it's hard work to be like a high level athlete. Like it takes a lot out of you. And I think one of the things I had to think about is it's always like, I think one of the best feelings is after a workout, you just gave your all, like you're dead tired and you have that feeling of like, I did something, like I'm working hard and I'm like working on myself to get better. And I think it's one of those things that when you're thinking about it beforehand, it's like you build it up in your head of all like oh, I'm gonna have to go to practice and then do this and do this. And I think it's more you got to think long term, but also just like future you. Like you got to think in the future and 2 hours after this practice, like I'm going to be so happy with myself. I'm going to be proud of myself. And it's also the alternative of like, well, if I'm not doing this, what else am I going to do? Because like if you're not, I don't know, like if you're not in a sport and you quit, like at least I felt like I was missing out because I would miss it. I would be like, well, sure, like I didn't want to run sprints on Tuesdays and whatever, but it's like I miss going to tournaments and like, so you just got to find little things that you appreciate to kind of hold close to you.
For sure, for sure. That's such a good tip. Another question I wanted to say is you have already said you had experience with a wide variety of sports, which is so special because there's been increasingly the push to specialize, especially once getting to high school, to kind of put your head down and focus on one sport and go all in on that. Can you speak to how kind of getting a more diverse experience of overall athletics and trying out different sports, meeting different people, how that has shaped you and benefited you?
Yeah, absolutely. I always say like cross country is a great example. If I didn't, my friend was like, Mary, let's go to cross country, like just for fun. Like, I was like, you know what? Sure. Like, why not? If I wouldn't have joined cross country, there was just so many people and so many memories that I wouldn't have made and I wouldn't have ever known were possible if I didn't take that little scary step of like, I'm just going to try something new. Like, why not? And I think multiple sports, because for me, I love to work hard at things, but like we were talking about burnout, like after a while, it gets a little repetitive and gets a little bit like,
Yeah,
yeah, and I think especially in high school because it's different seasons, like your sport's not all year, so that's not even really an option. But a way to just keep myself in shape and keep myself mentally like kind of stimulated and in the mindset, like I just love having something to do every season. So it's like I'm always working hard at something, but it changes a little bit and the people I'm around change. And it's like that shift of like now I focus on this part or this part. Cause like with lacrosse or flag football, I kind of get like a more, I'm with a team of great women, a good community, and it's very like social orientated, I'd say, where like that's when I'm with my people and some of my best friends. And then wrestling gives me kind of that discipline and like that this is going to suck some days, but I'm going to go and I'm going to do it anyway.
for
And
sure.
so I think every sport and every team is going to give you something a little bit different, but they're all equally as great and like important. So I think doing so many things kind of shapes me as a person because it's like I have all these different parts of like who I am that come from different like sports or different people or communities and stuff. So that's what I just think. I think everyone should always branch out and try something new because if I didn't, like, I don't even know where I'd be right now. Like,
Yeah.
that's where everything good happens. Like, you just got to try it. Like, you just got to see because you'll regret it if you don't. Like, I just think that's a really great topic is doing multiple sports.
For sure. That's real. It's really such a privilege to be able to try so many different things and meet people. I'm so glad you've just so mature to see so many of the benefits and the advantage it's given you and just how it
Yeah.
shaped you. It's really so inspiring to hear.
Yeah, I agree. It is. And I love that you talk about because the easy defer to is, oh, you should do a variety of sports because it stops you from getting injured. You're not having repetitive motion or those type of things. And all of that stuff is true.
Mm-hmm.
But what people don't really tune into is that being mentally stimulated. So not only trying something new, but meeting new people and trying to fit in and listening to a new coach. And I think there's so much value in that. And when I look back on all the interviews we've done over the past couple of years and all the high performing Division I and professional athletes that I have gotten to talk with, do you know that the majority of them, I mean, the vast majority of them all were multi-sport athletes. None of them
Mm-hmm.
specialized.
Yeah.
And I think it's what makes the biggest difference because it doesn't maybe has less to do with, challenging yourself physically so you perform better, but more with that mental fortitude where you've got to go in and you've got to do something hard that's a little sticky and you don't quite know the path, but you're going to figure the path out. And I just think that's something we don't talk enough about, and I don't think we celebrate it enough. So
Totally.
yeah, I absolutely love, love, love that you talked about that. What's next for you? Like, is there something after high school or athletically? I'm just curious.
Yeah. So I'm actually, speaking of multiple sports, I'm looking at a college now, which I'm like thinking about playing both lacrosse and wrestling.
Wow.
Because I feel like, well, first of all, like I feel like I would just really succeed with playing a sport. I feel like the transition from doing all this athletically and then going to college and not doing anything, I feel like I'm crazy. But
Oh,
I think, yeah, so nothing's like confirmed, but I'm definitely thinking about two sports because again, like I just think they both give me such things where it's like with lacrosse and wrestling because it's like women's wrestling, which is now starting to grow as well.
right.
I would get two communities of just great people, and then I'd also get that discipline, and then from lacrosse, that teamwork, and it's like, I'm a person who always, like, I love to have something to do. Like, I can't, like, sit down and just, like, be not doing anything. So I think, like, looking at college and so forth, like, I would be really excited to play two different sports just because of, yeah, just athletically, socially, just for my own well-being, like, that's kind of what I'm thinking about, but
Yeah, I think, and that's something too that's new. So you talked a little bit about that. So women's
Mhm.
wrestling, and not in high school yet, but at the collegiate level, it's a separate sport, correct?
Yeah. Oh, no, at the high school level too.
It is? I didn't know that. Fill
Oh,
me in.
yeah, it's, like, one of the fastest growing sports, like, wrestling and flag football, like, I'm, like, so grateful. I'm part of, like, the 2 fastest growing sports in
Oh,
America, like, so for state, like, girls and boys, like, there's a separate girls' state for high school.
so
So
you
during the
practice
season.
with the boys, but then
Yeah,
you
yeah.
compete.
So
Oh, I didn't realize that.
so I still practice with the boys' team and stuff like that because we don't have any other girl wrestlers at Libertyville. But, like, Stevenson, for example, they have a team of, like, what is it, like, 50 or 60 girls, I think, on their team.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, just because their school is so huge, but still, it's really cool to see.
So is it like lacrosse where boys and girls lacrosse is completely different, or is boys and girls wrestling the same as far as
No,
rules and stuff
boys
goes?
and girls wrestling is this, I wanna say exactly the same. I think the only thing that would differ is, like, the rules don't differ. The only thing I can think of is, like, weight classes.
Okay.
They're, like, 2 or 3 pounds off for girls just because like, they're a little different, but the rules is the exact same.
All right. Okay.
So, like, during the season, I wrestle, like, boys from other schools and stuff like that because it's all just based off weight classes.
Got
So
it. But then once you get to the state competition, then it
Mhm.
divides into gender.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
Okay.
kind of together for as much as you want it to be, and then once you get to state, you can go to the girls one.
Got it. All right. So your athletic experience to date has been, I mean, positive. I mean, like, which is absolutely amazing. Is
Totally.
there anything you think we can be doing either differently or better to help support either a girl in sport or a female coach? Is there anything like looking through your lens, like, oh, like I wish this was different, or what if we did things this way or not? I'm just curious.
I think that's like a path. Like, I think a big thing that I've always held close to me just because of, like, my personal experience and people I know is, like, mental health in athletes.
Uh,
I feel like that's something that's totally like, obviously, now I feel like there's a lot of awareness with it and everything like that, but I think for just athletes in general, but also specifically, like, female athletes, I think making sure that, because especially, like, I talk about how I do all these different things and I love it, but there are some times where it's obviously, like, super overwhelming, like,
of course.
like, like, school, a job, and, like, 3 sports and all this stuff. So I feel like when it comes to, like, the more taking a closer look, I feel like knowing that you have a coach where you feel comfortable enough to go talk to them and be like, "Hey, this is what's going on with me. This is why I've been off lately." Like, having that like, back to just community in sports, like, having people who you trust enough to open up to will help you obviously both mentally, but then, like, your athletic performance as well. So I think with female coaches and just coaches in general, it's like providing an outlet for your athletes so they don't feel like all the pressure on them because, you have a team to distribute the weight a little bit, so you have to have someone you can go to.
Yeah, I agree. And I love that you talk about that. So the relationship with the coach to be able to share. So moving past that, because obviously we need to talk about scope of practice then. So do you think there's enough resources after an honest conversation between an athlete or coach? Like, I'm struggling a little with my mental health. Do you think there's enough resources out there that we can point athletes to, or do you think we need to be doing something differently there?
I think there are resources. I think like within schools and stuff, there's obviously like built-in like counselor you can go to.
Yeah.
That I would think maybe the only thing like more that could be done is maybe educating. And I haven't looked into this at all. Like I don't know
Yeah.
how accurate this is, but I feel like a lot of the time, like going to a counselor or therapist, like they're not really athlete centered. Like athletes and I think people who do sports and people who don't do sports do have a very like different mindset in some aspects.
Yeah.
And so I think sometimes, like, if your coach is like, "Oh, well, go talk to your counselor," and it's like someone who's never played sports and never been involved with that, and you're trying to like explain how you feel, there's just like that like disconnect of like you can't really explain it sometimes. Like you have to have someone who's been there too. So maybe just having like people who are educated in both athletics and sports, but then also with, counseling and therapists. Like I remember the first therapist I went to, or like my therapist I go to, was a sports therapist, just to get me mentally in that too. And that was like one of the most helpful things I've ever done. So I think if everyone could have that resource of like an athletic therapist or something like that, like a resource on a team, I think that would be huge. But
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, that's why I wanted to kind of sift through that, because we have to be able to talk about scope of practice, and coaches need to stay in their lanes, and teachers need to stay in their lane, and parents need to stay in their lane. We didn't even talk about that, but yeah, that could be a whole nother podcast. But I agree with you. Some of the times when you're referring at the high school level, when you're referring to counselors in the school, and I get that there's so much liability. So for a coach to refer an athlete to an outside counselor, there are some, legal issues there. So I get that. But I agree with you. Maybe something in the athletic departments, as we're becoming more aware of the conversation, where we are training the licensed counselors that are in the school to be able to point these athletes to resources. And I think you're exactly right. In some arenas where there is access and some privilege, those kids are probably getting to connect with a sports therapist. But the reality is the majority of kids do not have access to that.
Definitely. And like I was like privileged enough to get access to that. And I just like, now that I'm thinking about it, it's like being an athlete like takes a team. Like you have your coach getting you like ready on the field or mat or whatever. Like your teachers are to teach your school. Your parents are there to just kind of support you. And I feel like there's just not someone whose actual like main focus is to like preserve like the mental state of the athletes. Like, I feel like putting that on the coach, like their job is to get you good physically, so maybe I think mental coaches, like I know at our school we have like something like that where it's like, wait, what is it? Wildcat Will, I think. Like we have stuff where like athletes can learn about mentality and stuff like that, but I think it's mostly focused on like how to get better and how to have IQ in your sport. So I think counselors who have experience with sports is just a huge game changer. So maybe something like that would be good.
Yeah, and we think so. We at Peak, that's something that we definitely talk about, is having access to both a mental health practitioner and a mental performance coach, which is, they are two different things. And just so one, dealing with impact of mental health and mental health crisis, and the other dealing with impact of the pressures specifically to a high performing athlete. So Caitlin, I'm going to help get Mary cooled down here in a minute. But before I do that, do you have anything you want to jump in and add or chat about?
Well, yeah, I just wanted to thank you, Mary, for coming on before you get cooled down, because your perspectives, seriously, are so wise, and you just have such a fresh outlook on sports and just the athletic community in general. So I'm just so excited that we got to hear from you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. This is great.
Yeah, this has been it actually exceeded my expectations. So I was beyond excited, and I'm thrilled. So let's get you cooled down. Now, I'm actually curious about this. I ask this question a lot, but this is typically from people who do one or two things well. So if talent were not an issue, what sport would you love to excel in?
If talent were not an issue, like if I could be good at any sport?
Yes, anything. What would you pick?
Like one that I don't even play?
Yeah.
Ooh, let me think. Oh, I know. The sport I've always wanted to like be good at, 'cause I just think they're so cool, is like hockey. I would love to play hockey. I feel like it's like the trifecta, like wrestling, lacrosse, and hockey are the three sports that are like so similar. And hockey's just
Yeah.
one I never got around to.
That's so funny. I could totally see you crushing it.
Yeah,
Hockey.
someone said that. They're like, you play hockey, you seem like you would. And I was like, I wish I did. Like, that'd be awesome.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. All right. If you were going to have a dinner party, what 5 people would you like to sit around the table?
Like famous people?
Famous or it could be your flag football coach. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if we know him or not.
Oh, okay. Ooh, this is tough.
I know
All
we
right,
ask hard
I'm
questions,
gonna
Mary.
think. Yeah, seriously, you're putting me on the spot here. Let me think. 5 people. I'm trying to think of some famous people who are really cool. All right, well, I'll start with like friends, people from my sports teams. Let me think. I'm gonna go with Allie Perkins. She's my really close friend I met through flag football.
Perfect.
And then, we're gonna go with Harley Hiller. She's a
Ooh.
D1 Iowa wrestler, national champ. She's the best. We met through judo.
And the best name ever, by the
Oh
way.
yeah, super cool. And then let me think. I'm trying to think of like famous people. I'm really drawing a blank. All right, maybe just I'll go with my coaches. I'll go with RJ Cohen and Aaron Cohen.
Nice.
We'll get Coach Ray Feiner there, Coach
Love
Dykebach,
it.
Coach Geske. I think that should be 5, somewhere around there.
Nice. I love that. Would you cook them anything special or are you ordering takeout?
Ooh, I think I'm gonna have to order from my go-to spot, which is Dairy Queen.
Oh my gosh, I'm dying that your go-to spot is
Oh,
Dairy Queen.
I work there. It's my place of work. I gotta promote it.
Oh my gosh, that is so completely awesome.
I'm
Oh,
a
so
gum
you're with
ice cream. Guess we going.
Ava works at Dairy Queen. There's a lot of like incredible kids that work at the Queen.
Oh yeah, Rosemary works at Dairy Queen. It's a good
Yeah.
spot we got.
Oh yeah, it's a good squad. All right, let's promote the Queen. I like it. Oh my gosh. So everybody, I hope you have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation as much as Caitlin and I have enjoyed the conversation. We are so glad that you are here. The simplest thing that you can do to help promote our podcast is make sure you share with a female athlete or coach you love. Make sure you give us a 5-star rating. It takes absolutely no time at all. And we'll make sure we keep you in the know with everything we have going on at Peak. Until next time.